a unit when I finished it, and then I let students, I'm not a good example, I will tell you. I let students like take a pretest if they weren't successful,
Okay.
and then like based on how they done the pretest, the lessons would be assigned to them to try again. But I just unlocked it in Edmentum, like as we were going,
Okay.
whatever we covered.
All right, Ms. Howard, how did you guys use it? Number one.
We use it for remediation, for foundations and algebra.
Okay.
After they take an assessment, it's the remediation.
Okay. And did you have them do the post-test in Edmentum after they remediated? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to show you, for those of you that are not trained in Edmentum, how to set up a class, how to look through the curriculum, and how you can use it as remediation in your class. So if you have not ever logged in, it is in Clever. Find the Clever app on your desktop, blue with white C. Pull up the Clever app. Depending on how your screen pulls up, some of you might have to just search for Edmentum. If you click on the district page, it should be in your apps. Find the Edmentum, it's an E with a little colorful band across the middle, so find the Edmentum E. Find it. Go ahead and click into it once you find it. Let me know if you are having trouble finding it. Or find people around you that know what they're doing. You can just search for it, start typing. Alright, if you have already used Edmentum, you will see sections in here. If not, it will say you have no active sections or something like that, right? So it either pops up on an alert page or it pops up here and says no active sections, or if you've already created them, they are there. But everyone, if you are not on the screen, let's just make sure we're getting to the right place. I want you to hit courseware. No matter where your screen popped up, hit courseware and hit South Cobb, and it will bring you to the active sections page.
Can you explain just one more time, please, how you got from Clever to that page?
Find the Edmentum app in the...
Go to district.
Okay.
Go to district page. Go to district page and you can find
I
it.
did that and then it opened it up. How do I then make sure that it's on my page?
Click little one.
Click the little heart.
Yeah, I had to search for it, but I want to make sure it's on.
Farmer, did you find it? Okay. Click the little heart so that you can say.
It's on district page.
Go back.
And then it'll be put on your page.
You're ready now? Alright, we all in it? Okay. Again, no matter where your screen popped up, you can get to this main screen by hitting courseware, South Cobb. So everyone, if you are not on my active sections page, hit courseware at the top left, South Cobb. We all good. Courseware, South Cobb, courseware, South Cobb. Alright. Alright, we are all, whether you have used this or not, just follow along. Alright, we are going to all create a new section. There's a green button that says new section. Green button says new section. Click on that. Green button, new section.
What if ours looks totally different from you?
Okay, then hit courseware, South Cobb. It'll take you back. Courseware at the top left, South Cobb. Yep. Now hit the green button, new section. Courseware, South Cobb. Green button, new section. Courseware, South Cobb, the top left. Alright, you are going to go to custom courses. It says all Plato custom. For right now, we're all going to go to custom courses. This will pop up the Cobb County courses. You can click in the little search bar in the middle. It says search by course name. Start typing just kind of the title. You don't have to type very many letters. You should be able to see it. I'm just going to type algebra. It'll pop up all the algebra 1s, all the algebra 2s. So start typing just one of the things. Some of you I know are not math. You are going to have to click on Plato. Yeah, I know some of you are like CTAE and fine arts, so let me know if there's anything. You can type Plato. Yeah, there you go. Just click that for now so you can see it. And you can explore. There are some things like you might explore.
31 to 35.
I got this.
Alright, the biggest thing though, if you are here, if you are on the custom courses, so for those math teachers, not the Plato people, if you're in the math course, make sure you are picking the flex version of the course. So scroll down to where you see flex credit, and make sure you're clicking the Y version, because A is the first half, B is the second half, Y is the whole course. So make sure you have the flex credit and the Y version of whatever class you are creating. Click on it and it should open this up. Let me know if you are not a regular core teacher. Yeah, credit is like when you teach the class all day long, you actually get full credit for class.
Can I know you?
Later. Alright, section name. Call it something that makes sense to your students when they pull it up. If they have multiple things from multiple teachers, I would recommend your last name, the title of your course, and the block. Carmichael, algebra 2, third block. So again, your last name, the title of your course, and the block that you're teaching. So if your students have multiple in there, they'll be able to find it easily. Alright, you are going to click this button right here that says no end date. Button that says no end date. Because you don't need pasting for this because you're just using it for remediation. So no end date should be selected. Alright, if you want to add a co-teacher, or if you are a co-teacher, and you want to be added to the same course, you can find that teacher here. So just start typing the name of the teacher. It will populate. Your own name should already be there, hopefully. But if you want to add, or if you want to combine as a CCC and put it all together, you can add other instructors' names there, and you can all see the same classes. Alright, the descriptions, you don't need to fill in anything there. You guys have CTLS for things that students need to see. You will never click self-enroll, so don't worry about that. You'll never click self-enroll. Are we all good? All right, continue to students. Blue button at the bottom, continue to students. All right, now let's see. If anyone pops up as an error and it says you don't have an instructor, let me know, because that happens sometimes. Does that happen to you? Yeah. All right, if that happens, exit out of your own name and just retype your own name. For some reason, it just does that. Exit out of your own name, retype your own name, and it should work. Anybody else get an error? Yes, continue to students.
I have to do an end date?
No. She just said no. Check one at the bottom that say no end date.
Good job.
It's been
Oh,
on
I got it.
Good job.
Alright, for right now, everyone is going to do the exact same thing. We are going to add a demo student. So in the search bar, type demo. Every person is going to type demo. We're all going to add the exact same demo student. It is the third one down. It says demo 1, comma, student. Demo 1, comma, student. Everybody click add that student to your class. Demo 1, comma, student. Should pop up. Always calling for fix. Good. Alright, anybody lost? Good? Okay. Thank you. I really could have done that myself.
Last name?
But you're already listed. Oh, you already did it, so okay.
Oh, she said that a week or so. So it counts.
Yes, question that I've heard all day is when you go to add your actual classes, do you have to type each name individually? And yes, you do. Just start searching for the names, but there is no way to upload your roster. You do have to type individual students.
No stress.
I haven't moved on yet. I was explaining. You just gotta add.
Just like demo. Some space between different. And that's it.
Alright, hit the green button that says save section. Hit the green button that says save section. Hit the green button that says save section. It will take you back to this screen and you should see the course you just created. Yes. Okay.
Save.
Alright, so save section should take you back to this screen that shows you the class that you just created. Yes? Okay, we are going to edit the curriculum. So click on the title of your class that you did. So mine's Carmichael Algebra 2, third block. Click on that title to pull up the curriculum page. I mean, not the curriculum page, the course page.
Yep.
All right, so you should see your section. You should see your demo student in that list. All there. All right, if you want, well, not if, like later, when you go to actually add your students, you can do it from this page. Section actions right here. Section actions, you'll see add students. It'll pull up that same screen that you just had where you typed your demo student. So after you've set up a class, you can still add students. So section actions, add student. All right, but for right now, we are going to go into the curriculum itself. There's a button that says curriculum. Everybody find this button, click on the curriculum button. Curriculum button. Curriculum button. Curriculum button. It will pull up all the lessons, all the units for your curriculum. All right, so get to the page where I'm at for whatever class you're in. We're all here. Okay. All right, to start, click collapse all, just to make it easier. Collapse all right under where it says curriculum settings, click collapse all. Just so you just see the titles of the units, and collapse all. Just make it easier to look at. All right, so one thing that is recommended, I would recommend it as well, is if you are using this for remediation. So you are going to assign only Unit 3 polynomial functions, but you assign it to your class. We know the kids a lot of times they won't hear that you said do Unit 3. They'll just jump at the very beginning and they'll just start working. So to avoid that, we're going to lock everything. And then we're going to individually lock as needed. So to start, there's unfortunately not an easier way to do this unless you guys have learned it. But you have to click these little 3 dots next to each unit and click lock all. Keep going, click lock all. Click it for each one.
Do we want to log the student orientation at the top?
It doesn't matter. I mean, you can, but.
Lock. Get locked. Get locked.
All right, there is a button that says Save Changes at the very bottom. Make sure you click that after you've locked everything, so it saves your changes. All right, lock everything using those 3 buttons. Lock each one, and hit Save Changes at the bottom. All right, give you a second to lock everything. Yeah, just to not throw them off, sure. Yeah. All right, give you a second, make sure everything's locked. Again, make sure you hit Save Changes to save your changes.
Ms. Carmichael,
Yes.
should we hide as well, or just?
Okay, so that's a good question. You can hide if you would like to, but if you lock it, they can't even click into the unit. So it kind of is hidden anyway. So you can, yes, you can. If you only want them to see on their screen just Unit 3, because that's all you want them to see to make it so easy, then yes, absolutely. You can also hit this button where it says hide all, and it won't show up on their screen. But if everything's locked, this is all they'll see, and they won't be able to actually even click into the unit if it's locked. So that's a good question. If you want to make it super, super easy, so literally all they see on the screen is what you want them to do, yes, hide it. But in my opinion, it's not necessary, but you know your students.
Yes, we do.
Yes. All right, we all locked? Okay. Go back up to the top of this screen. So stay on this screen, go back up to the top. There is a little banner that says curriculum settings.
Yes.
Go ahead and click on that. It'll pop this thing down. All right, so depending on how you want to do this. So most people, when they're doing remediation, don't want the kids to take a pretest because they don't want them to potentially exempt out. So if that is you, I would go ahead and hit omit all and omit all the pretests at once. If you're like Ms. Shockey where you want them to take the pretest and then see how they do, then absolutely keep them there. But if you do not want to use the pretest because you know the sections that they did not do well on the test, I would recommend hitting omit all, save changes. Most of you also, almost all of your classes, I would also recommend hitting teacher graded omit all,
Ooh, yes.
and discussions email.
I agree with that one.
So teacher graded, discussions, and pretest. If you click on something and the little save does not pop up at the bottom, that means that doesn't have any of that in your class. So like I clicked on discussions, nothing happens because there's no discussions in Alpha 2. But there were teacher graded, so that popped up. Still good? Take that as yes. Alright, so Edmentum pops up a lot of different tabs on your screen. So there's not like, it's not very like back button friendly. So to get back to our original screen, it's at the tab that was right next to you. So it should say section details right there. So go back to that previous tab. Click section details. If you ever get lost along the way, because Edmentum has got a lot going on, you can always hit the courseware South Cobb to get back to your main screen. So if you ever get lost and you're in the grade book and you don't know where you were, courseware you will always get you back to your main screen. But in our section details, you should be here at your class. Yeah? Alright, so now we have locked down the whole curriculum, everything's locked, but now we're ready to actually assign things to students. So click on the name of our student. So click on our demo person. So actually click on their name. Alright, it pulls up their individual page. So click on the student's name from the course section. Let me know if you need help getting to the course section. Okay, so just go back to the previous tab. So you have to go and actually click on the tab. Yeah. So now click on the same.
Kelly, when you go to the kids' name,
Alright, so you should see the settings that you just did for that individual student. I omitted my pretest, I locked everything down, however you set it, you'll see that for that individual student. If you add new students, those settings will already apply. Alright, but we are looking at this kid. We know that, let's see, quadratics revisited. They did fine with operations with complex numbers, but not so well with solving and reasoning with complex numbers. So we want them to remediate on this section. So we are going to unlock that section. If you're on an individual student's page, by the way, it will only edit their curriculum. If you're on the curriculum page, it edits it for the entire class. If you're on the individual student, this only changes it for that student. Alright, so this student did fine with operations with complex numbers, but not so well with solving and reasoning. So I'm going to click on the 3 dots next to the one I want them to do. I'm going to go ahead and unlock it. So everybody just pick a random one for whatever you see on your screen. Just do random one in unit 1. Unlock it. Alright, so they are going to go through the tutorial. That's the lesson. It guides it, reteaches it. There's videos, there's practice problems, there's all kinds of stuff. Then there's going to be 5 practice problems, and then there's going to be a mastery test, which is a 5-question quiz. Yes?
Just for those, especially ESOL people, it does it in several different languages,
Yes.
so they can do it in their native languages.
Yes.
But they gotta figure that out for themselves.
oh, how do you do it?
Alright, so let's say they're doing solving reasoning, that's the only standard they messed up on the test, and you want them to do the test in Edmentum. But the way it's done right now, they will only do this lesson, but the post-test at the end of the unit will have questions on the whole entire unit. So in order to get rid of that, to avoid that, you have to omit what you don't want them to do. Omit is the only way that it will take the questions off of the test. So I'm going to go to my first section, I'm going to omit that one. Not just hide, not just lock, not exempt, only omit will take it away from the post-test. Yes?
But what if they did the pretest? Shouldn't it have omitted?
Okay, so if you do a pretest, it may exempt them, it does not omit them. So that's a good question. That means
It exempts the lessons, but
Yes.
not on the post-test.
Correct.
It shows up because they already showed the master and pretest.
so if you decide to do the pretest and they do well in one section, it will exempt them from the lesson. You'll see a little blue E here. They will not have to do that, but the questions will still be on the post-test. You have to omit it in order for them to be removed from the post-test. So if you are truly only wanting them to test on the standards that they messed up on, you have to omit the other ones. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to show you, if you're in any of this and you want to see actually what the lesson looks like, you can click on the tutorial button. So whichever class you have on your screen right now, just click on one of the tutorials. It will pop up so you can actually see what the lesson looks like, see what the notes look like. So you can kind of guide through. It usually takes a few pages for the content to actually start.
What is up with that?
Yeah, I know, it's a lot. So not too many pages. Yeah, so you can start to see factory column. and again, Edmentum pops things up in new tabs. So go back to your previous tab to get back to where you just were. Don't hit the back button. It's not very back button friendly. So go back to your previous tab. You'll realize you'll be working on it for 10 minutes and you look up and you have 27 tabs open. So just pay attention to that. All right, if you click on mastery tests, so wherever you are, just click on mastery tests. Click on mastery test. It will show you all the possible questions they might see on that mastery test, which again is just a 5-question quiz. Almost all of them have a bank of 20 questions. If you click right here, it shows you all 20 questions, but again, they will get 5 at a time. So it's a 5-question quiz, but you can see the 20 possible that are there. So again, that was from the curriculum page. I clicked on the mastery test itself, and it popped up the 20 questions that they might see. Questions so far? Good to go. Awesome. All right. Okay, I'm going to go back. So go back to your section details tab. This is the very first tab that you should have. And again, at any point, if you get lost, at the top, courseware, Southcom takes you back to your active sections. All right. Okay, so we're back to our class. All right, so again, curriculum takes you to the curriculum. Section actions allows you to add the students. Gradebook, you can see the gradebook, how everyone in the class is doing on all the assignments. All right, I'm going to show you, oh, actually, one more thing. Click on the title of your class right here. There's like a little drop down button. If you don't have anything else, you'll probably only see the one course that you did. But these are all the classes that I've created. So if you click on that, as you start to add more classes, you'll be able to see all of them, and you can easily click from one to the other in here. All right, so I'm going to show you, so this part, just watch. I'm going to show you actual, like, one of my classes. These are my kids. What their page will look like. All right, so she has pacing and all that stuff because she's actually getting credit for this class. This is an AOC class, so you won't have target dates and all that, but she does. So I just want to show you a couple important things. Right here is the amount of time they spent on that activity. So she spent 1 hour and 4 minutes on that lesson. So that was great. She was taking notes. She was doing really good. If you assign something and the kid comes in and is like, all right, I'm ready for the post test, I did it, and you look and it says 1 minute and 27 seconds, obviously you know they spent 1 minute and 27 seconds on it. So pay attention to that. Also, if like you forget to lock something but you did not want to do that, them to do it at home, you can see when they did it by clicking on those 3 buttons, clicking view history, and it'll tell you exactly when they completed that. So like if they're trying to tell you they did it whenever, you can see. All right, if you want to know specifically the answers to the questions that they've selected, all right, so I'm going to click on this. You can do it on any quiz, any test. This little magnifying glass, if they have a grade, will pop up the test, and you can see what they did, their learner answers, and the answer key. So she got that one correct, that one, she's good to go. You can click on that at any point, so she only missed 6 and 7, see they're red. And I can look and see specifically, okay, she didn't get that one. So you can tell exactly what they're not doing well with. That's actually really important if they're taking a quiz, because sometimes, because there's only 5 questions on the quiz, right? So if they get 3 right, that's only a 60. They need an 80 to technically move on. So you can click on their quiz, and you can look at it and say like, well, no, whatever. You can look and say like, okay, I kind of see that you got it, but you maybe put a negative where you shouldn't have, or you spelled something wrong, or whatever. You can look and see like, did they actually miss it, or was there a slight error, and then you can adjust it if you need to. Questions on any of that? Okay. Anything that I'm missing from you algebra teachers that have done it so far? Anything you want to point out? Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, I will point out. So like this is an exam. So like what Ms. Shoppy was saying, if they did the pretest, so she got a 71 on the pretest because she knew this section pretty well. So that did exempt it, but she did still have to take those questions on the post test. Again, you have to omit in order for them to be removed from the post test. This, you can see that's the number of attempts. She did not pass the mastery test the first time, so it will lock. As a teacher, you have to go in and unlock it for them to try it again. So she took it the second time, that's when she got her 100. This will tell you that it's mastered, which means they got an 80 or above. The blue circle just means they completed it. So they may have failed it, but they completed it, and that will still be blue. Yes?
So when they're taking the test, does it meant to block the tabs on the web search?
Technically, yes and no. They've very quickly found a way around that, the students. So technically, if you click on another tab and you try to open Google, it locks you out, and then you have to be asked to, like, the kid has to ask to have it unlocked, so you know what they were doing. But they've found other ways around it by like opening just a brand new browser and stuff like that. So it's not foolproof, but it tries. All right. Any other questions? And again, at any point, if you want to know what it looks like, you can actually click on the tutorial, the practice, or the mastery test to see the types of questions that they will get. All right, Dr. Strawn, anything to add before I show them Play-Doh?
No, just again, it's a really robust instrument, something you can use with your students. It's something you could put mock lessons in CTLS for students who are failing and send it on to parents. I got a notice from my child's teacher last semester from Hillgrove, and it was, working these modules, like I said again, you could go back and you could pull lessons from previous grade levels or whatever content areas to support kids who may need some work in another area. And it's a tool for you. We eventually want to be out of the business of doing the source side of it, where, assign the kids and they do their own, they do their remediation. Or you do remediation in class with them, do grade repair and remediation. I think Pebblebrook's not even doing course extension.
I do have a question related to what you were just talking about. You're talking about it locking.
Yep.
And you were talking about like a student spending like an hour on a section. Okay, well, let's say you were doing this in class or they were doing it at home and they only committed 30 minutes.
Yep.
It will lock them out because they didn't finish it. Is there a way to change that? Or
Okay, so the the tutorials will not lock. So they'll be unlocked if they need to save it and come back for later, that's totally fine. The quizzes though have to be done in one session. So no matter what, whether they're sitting in front of you, they're at home, it shouldn't take them, it's 5 questions, it should take them, 10, 15 minutes. So if they don't finish the quiz, we'll grade it as is. So if they answer 3 questions and they got them all right, they'll get a 60 because they only answered the 3 out of the 5. So that you do have to unlock if they don't finish it. But the tutorial they can save.
what about the ones that just say practice?
That, I believe you can come back to as well. Yeah, you can save it. It's everything but the mastery test.
Okay, so anything that says assessment, pre-test, quiz, post-test, it locks.
Yes.
So they should be planning to do like start and end. They should plan accordingly.
Correct.
Okay.
And this does not connect with Synergy, right?
No, it's not connected to Synergy, yeah. So use this as you see fit. So take the grades, do whatever. If that's all it is to use it, like to allow them to retest, use it that way. If you want to directly put the grades in, do it that way. It's however you and your CCC want to use it.
And it times out, the test time out after a while, so even if they're in it.
If they're just staring at the screen, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Well,
yeah.
if they were like writing but taking a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long
my kids have gone to lunch and come back and it's still not timed out. So yeah, no, it's a long time. So if it times out, that means they were literally just sitting there for an hour staring at the screen. One last thing I just want to show you. From here, you can get to the grade book. I just want to show you what the grade book looks like. You can also, if you're on your curriculum page, you'll see it says the word grade book. And you can see, it gives you a pre-test score if you do that. It tells you these are all the mastery tests, those quizzes, and then it gives you the post-test. If it's slashed through, that means it's omitted and the E is exempt, but it gives them 100 if they exempted it. All right, final questions? Yeah.
Yeah. Do the students have a login, like the way graph?
Okay, so that's a good question. They get in the same way that you did. They get in from their student laptop, they click on Clever, they click on Edmentum, it'll pop up. Once you add them in, it pops up automatically for them. So click on Clever, click on Edmentum, just like you guys did.
They will try to go to your page in Edmentum. It's not in their page, and they have to go scroll down to it.
You can add it though.
I just don't care. I'm like, scroll down and find it, stop going to my page, so.
And then I tell them to put a little heart.
Yeah.
So they'll see it all the time.
If you come up with a situation where a student is not, you can't find them at all, that happens, those glitches happen, just email me. And I'll reach out to the district and have someone to rescue.
All right, so last thing real quick, I just want to show you. If you're creating a new section, and like you said, if you want to go back to 6th grade and assign some remediation, that's in the Play-Doh courses. So again, custom is where you're going to be. So custom and then the flex courses. But if you want to find something like random and go back and tell stuff, hit the Play-Doh courses and you kind of scroll through there. There's a lot of other stuff that's not directly connected to our standards, but might be useful for you. But the custom is the standards.
if you look at the Plato courses, just take a quick second to look at the Plato courses, there's everything from, I was telling Mr. Anderson, there's a course on Lord of the Rings and film and theater. There's cosmetology, sign language, you name it, it's there. So there are a lot of good little life thing. I'm looking at one right now that we could use down in ISS, for those students in ISS, as a life management skills. So yeah, there's tons of courses that, like Ms. Ms. Carmichael said, they may not align to our standards correctly, but you can use them. There are only X amount of courses that we use for, we already know which courses we use for, that are aligned to the standards, for the district. We have those courses, but Plato gives you a lot of opportunity to play, to use those courses.
Alright, so if you want to stay around and ask any questions, feel free to do so, but otherwise you're good to go. Dr. Strawn sent an email this morning with a sign-in, thing, link.
And I've included all of you as a part of the professional development, teams that I created this morning.
And I'm gonna be posting on that Teams a, document with like screenshots of where to click and all that, so you can follow along when you're trying to create it on your own. But come find me, ask questions. If you are planning on using this and you get stuck, let me know.
A lot of experts around the school. You got the math people, you got Ms. Williams, you got Ms. Howard, you got a lot of people who know how to use it and are taking advantage of it, so feel free to reach out.
Keep it in touch.
And people are so.
All right.